This week we're reading The Burning Sky by Sherry Thomas, otherwise known as A Pegasus in a Special Telescope.
Hi readers, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Katie.
And welcome to Not Another Heroine, the book pod where we celebrate the heroines we love
and roast the ones we don't. We'll be your TBR FGMs.
Fairy godmothers.
And find you the best 5-star reads, the spiciest romance, and save you from the overhyped DNFs.
So grab your favorite drink and get cozy. Welcome to Season 3.
Let me tell you a little story maybe before we start this one.
Okay.
So I was cleaning out my garage because it is a dying explosion of every item I have ever had since I was like 19 years old.
I think it is this season. We just did that yesterday.
Interesting. Okay, it's apparently garage cleaning. Yeah, because you like go in there and you're like, what the actual...
It's overwhelming sometimes.
Dude. So I was cleaning it out. I went through a random box and what did I find except my first ever Kindle?
Oh, that's dangerous.
Yeah. It had never been connected to the Wi-Fi at my house, and I have lived there for several years. So that should tell you what I was in store to find. So I plugged that bitch in, I powered it on, and I was given the most heinous blast from the past. These are books that I read in probably like 2010. They had original covers on them. I had the original, the like Barbie doll cover for Throne of Glass, the one that has the little like blonde Barbie chick on it. God, I don't even remember at this point, but everything from that quintessential 2010 period, these were like untouched relics. I was scrolling through and I also found the book that we're going to talk about today.
I cannot believe you had already read this one and did not put two and two together.
I had no idea because I feel like I'm only just getting to the point where I remember authors. Like, when would you say that you started to actually like pay attention to authors?
I was reading before Kindle and ebooks were a thing, so you had to know your authors to find more of their stuff.
That's fair, because I feel like when I started super getting into reading, it was like in the very beginning of ebooks. So it's like I just like found whatever. So I read this. I'm about to pull up the actual like dates that I read this. This was in my activity 2014 October.
Wow.
So I had no idea that The Burning Sky, my picked up on a whim 99-cent Amazon first ever ebook, was written by none other than Sherry Thomas.
Historical romance goddess wrote 2010's YA romantasy.
Yep. I had zero idea. It wasn't until I opened my old ass Kindle and I was like, oh, The Burning Sky. Like, I remember that kind of fondly. And I looked at the author and I was like, wait a second.
No fucking way. It's the same chick.
I was convinced it was not the same person.
I still think that there is either heavy editing going on or it's like a writing team, because I picked up The Magnolia Sword by Sherry Thomas.
Oh.
It's a Mulan retelling. I'm a sucker for Mulan retellings. And it is draggy the same way Burning Sky is draggy.
I could see that. Wow. So maybe what does she write?
I think she writes historical romance like predominantly and then like dived into this when it was getting big.
Yeah, because it's kind of weird to me because I didn't realize until I got like the reality check from Jordan. The romance is pretty non-existent in this. Like,
well, and for the age it's geared to, like,
yeah,
you were the right age to read this.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah. Like for adult readers though, it feels very tropey and like teenagers like dancing around the issue, which is also fine. But perhaps not something that you would want to read as an adult.
Yeah. So I reread it, and I think the power of nostalgia was kind of like doing all of the heavy lifting, because I smashed through the first one, and I got probably like 15% into the second one, and I was like, okay, I've had enough.
Confession time, readers, I did not finish the first one. So you recommended it, and I downloaded it. I'm like, I'm going to love this because I love Sherry Thomas. And it was just so routine. I got 50% of the way through. I'm like, I know how this ends.
That's fair.
And I don't need to know anymore.
That's fair. The power of nostalgia was probably getting me through this. But I will say, if you have like a 13, 14-year-old, like voracious reader in your life,
this one.
Yeah, it's very clean. I don't think there's anything like crazy that happens in this.
And, like, the prince is definitely he's age appropriate, but maturity level, he's 30, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for your teenagers who need, like, "Oh, the boys are stupid," like, this is the perfect balance. And also, if you have any readers who love Tamora Pierce, like this.
Yeah, because I would almost feel better having someone read this than some of Tamora Pierce's later ones that are more romance heavy.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you, like, started the Alana series, if you started the, like, Wild Magic series, but then you, like, stop and then you read this
Yes,
instead.
exactly.
I will say there's a couple of books that are, like, very similar that maybe are done a little bit better. I would say if your, like, reader that you're recommending this to is a little bit younger, probably like the Percy Jackson series. But to kind of set the tone, I feel like it's a mix between A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik and then Only a Monster by Vanessa. The plot lines of all three of these books is almost
similar, yeah.
completely interchangeable. So we are going to talk about it just for a little bit. Just
for one short episode. It's worth mentioning because I do think while we tend to read older, we have found a lot of value in some of the younger books. Like, I'm going to be singing the Winter's Curse trilogy until the day I die. But that was a rediscovery of a YA book, new A book, I think it's borderline, that I think reshaped my, like, appreciation of the genre.
Yeah. I wonder, maybe before we start getting into the main plot of this book, I feel like when you're a younger reader and you, like, go through these books and the tropes are really obvious, you don't notice it then, but then as, like, an adult reader, you're like, "Okay, this is, like, 99% tropes." I think that's been our issue with some of the recent, like, romantasy is the tropes are so hit you over the head that it feels like you're reading, like, YA, but then they have, like, these crazy smut scenes. Is that an outlandish observation?
No, I think that is a little too on the nose.
Oh, no.
Because this is gonna sound a little judgy.
Ooh, judgy Jordan.
She's coming out. And I know you have said this before, like, "Oh, I just read for vibes."
Yeah.
But you do and you don't. Like, you can recognize, okay, I am deliberately overlooking how atrocious this is because I'm just reading it to read. I feel like when you only do that, when you can't or refuse to recognize that there are other books that are done that do the same exact thing but 1,000 times better.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with that. It just makes me feel, like, sad.
Yeah. Well, I think I get what you're saying, and I think the sad part for me is when it's impossible to find a book that does it better because it's so bogged down by all the ones that are just like, dog.
Well, you just read that dedication, so I forget which book it was from, where the author I thought it was a clever way to dedicate the book. The summation of this summary, this prologue almost, is the author stating, "Hey, I'm not trying too hard. I'm just trying to deliver a good romance plot. I'm not doing a lot of world building, so, like, take that with a grain of salt." And your reaction surprised me.
Yeah, I don't love that because I feel like why write the book then if you're not gonna, like, put effort into it? You know what I mean? Like, that's the point of Wattpad and Archive of Our Own is, like, if you wanna, like, dive into something, but it's not gonna be, like, a fully fleshed out, like, novel, like, that's a place for it, but you just wanna make money, so you're gonna put something out that's kind of, like, half-assed.
Yeah, if you choose to write romantasy, or if you choose to write any genre, expect to be judged at the level of that genre, like, and the best books within that genre. Okay, well, your book is a 3 because all these other books are a 5, and you clearly did not do your second and third rounds of edits.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There's a place for, like, self-publishing, and maybe that's, like, the more appropriate venue where it's like, okay, if you want to say that this is, like, good enough to be published and you're gonna put your own, like, resources behind its publishing. I don't know. I'm an Archive of Our Own, fanfic girly, and that's maybe the place for some of these books that are like, don't caveat your book. Like, what the fuck? It's like going to the Olympics and you're like, this is not going to be my best race. I run like a, 20-minute 1 mile time. Just putting that out there.
But
it's like, why the fuck are you at the Olympics
yeah,
then?
like it's kind of like the presumption of like I deserve to be in this race because I did a thing.
Yeah. It's like, but you didn't, you're like caveating that you're not putting effort into it.
Yeah, but you didn't do it well.
Yuck. I don't love that. That made me more mad than I thought it would. The burning sky is not like that, but there are some bleh about it.
It didn't feel, when the first half that I read, it didn't feel like there was any love of the world or that there was any, I don't know, desire to detail and explain and share like the world building and the history and like the politics. It was just this, it seemed kind of trite. Like, okay, this is the recipe for delivering a YA romantasy. Here you go.
That's freaky. I agree with your observation. I feel like it kind of like opened my eyes up. Because did you get to the point where they went into the Crucible?
No.
The concept of the Crucible is like it's a book that is like a training ground.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So you can like jump into it. I feel like that had more world building than the actual world. Yeah. So that's interesting that's very true.
As soon as my boy like rode in on a pegasus and he was like, I'm here to save the heroine. Like, okay.
That hurts my feelings because it sounds so stupid. But in the book, you're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Or maybe I was because I'm blinded by nostalgia.
But also Atlantis.
Yeah,
come on.
I will say on the second reread, I'm like, I forgot about that bit.
But that's what I mean, though. It's very approachable for young readers. Like, oh, I recognize that mythology.
Yeah.
Flying horses, mystical lost kingdom.
That is true. So maybe it's geared for like a little bit younger than we're expecting.
I think the age that you read it at is probably right. So 13 to probably high-end 16?
17, yeah, 16, 17. Interesting. Wow. I don't love this.
Is it fair for us to review this book with our standards being where they're at because we can't take our heads out of like some of the better?
That is true. I would say yes, except I still kind of loved this. Like, I know it's so trope heavy, but it was just like silly wish fulfillment, funny, whatever, 16-year-olds.
Let's talk about Iolanthe.
Mm-hmm.
She's the main chick. And I did think she was designed well. And I was like drawn in initially by her like character setup.
Mm-hmm.
So this opens...
She's like in the middle of practicing her magic, basically. She's by a river. She's an elemental wizard, witch, magician. Pick your...
She does the magics.
Yep, she does the magics. And this is kind of set in like I could not give you a time frame.
It's like a parallel universe set in the... I think it's like Victorian?
I think so.
Where they can hop. That's what annoyed the shit out of me.
Oh.
Was the parallel universe. It really reminded me of Muggles. Like Harry Potter.
Oh.
Like, oh, well, don't tell the Muggles. We're just going to hop in and live in their land too. Like,
I could see that. Yeah. She's an elemental. It's kind of fallen out of fashion. You use more like incantations and it's like a lesser magic, but it's seen as like the civilized magic. But she has like all of these crazy skills with elemental. She can use 3 of the 4 elements. There we go. Her guardian is kind of like a drunk lout, basically. And she is trying to, find whatever odd job so that he doesn't get fired from his position and they like lose everything. She only needs like another year before she can go to university, etc. She's like 16. All of a sudden, she is making this like starlight potion. As I'm talking about this, I'm like, this is pretty young.
Well, so she is supposed to make the potion for the wedding.
Yeah.
But her guardian does not want her to go into town because there's some sort of threat going on.
Yeah.
And he wants her to keep a low profile. So he destroys her potion thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, you motherfucker.
They do get into it.
And so she does some research and she finds a like magical spell where she can remake this potion that's taken her 3 days by calling down lightning.
Yeah. I love the fact that she was like, you know what? We're going to try it.
Well, it's kind of like I'm screwed either way.
Yeah.
So I might as well try the lightning. If I die, oh well, I tried.
What's a fun tidbit, though, I'm going to like spoil parts of this book, but the part that says if you can use lightning, like, it'll fix the potion, it's handwritten in the margins, and we find out later that that was written by the prince's mom. Because she's like
that's cute.
Yeah, she's a seer, and so she knows that this will, like, end up helping her son in the future. There's some, like, time stuff in here that's confusing, but little, tidbit. Yeah, so she calls lightning, it works, and she's like, "Ho-ho!" And then in comes Pegasus with Prince.
Like, they're not quite horses. They're like horse, dragon, griffin things.
Yeah.
But we also get some perspective switching. So this is written in third person. We do get flashes to our young prince, and he is the prince of a kingdom that has been overtaken by a larger empire. So he's like a figurehead royal where he's not really doing anything, and he's always watched by the empire. The empire is Atlantis. It hurts to say that. And they're very... like, picture the Empire from Star Wars.
Yeah, basically.
Takes over everything, colonizes everything, and they kill you if you fuck up. So there you go.
And this is very Star Wars coded. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
And the prince has been planning for years that there is, based on what his mother, the seer, said, that there was going to be this prophetic child who was going to save his kingdom. And so he's been planning to meet this child, a boy. Shocker, it's not a boy.
What?
And so he sees this lightning get called down from, I don't know, hundreds of miles away with his special telescope. And
Okay.
He has a special telescope.
Yeah.
For real.
Yes.
And he whistles for his Pegasus, and the Pegasus meets him at the bottom of a chute, and he slides down and lands on his Pegasus, and he sneaks out of his castle, and he flies to meet the lightning wielder. I can't even say it. Continue, Katie.
I don't think I want to. He comes in and essentially he knows that Atlantis is also looking for this like extraordinarily powerful elemental mage because it's been prophesied that they'll like end Atlantis's rule. So he's like, I need to get there before they do. And so he flies in. We get a perspective switch back to Iolanthe, and she's like, who the fuck is this guy? And so her guardian like shows up too, and he's like, what the fuck have you done? Like, I've put all this work into like protecting us, and you fucked it up by calling lightning. And he's like, we need to leave right now. And so he has his little like bag, and he like shoves it at her, and he's like, okay, get into this trunk. And she's like, excuse me, like what the fuck? But it's like a transporting trunk, etc. And then
It's
their
a
house
blue.
Yeah. We are not beating the fanfic allegations here.
No.
Before she can jump in, the house explodes, basically. And Atlantis has shown up, and they're like, who the fuck is in there? Get out with your hands up. You're being arrested for crimes against the state. But Prince Titus shows up, and he's like, okay, we're going to, like, try to fix this. He shoves her into the like, chest. She disappears. It locks, and then he jumps back on his Pegasus and pretends like he hasn't touched the ground yet. And Atlantis is like, what are you doing here, Prince Titus? And he's like, oh, I was just like looking around,
The lightning was sparkly.
Literally. And that's it. And then we get back to Iolanthe. She is in this like dark cave kind of thing. She lights some like fire magic, and she realized that she's completely encased in the chest and she can't get out. It has been locked from the outside, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking die in here. Except this old angry lady comes back, and she's like, you finally showed up, you bitch.
That's exactly how it goes too.
And so she sucks all of the air out. Iolanthe almost dies, and then
Prince Titus shows up
Yeah.
to save the day again.
Yeah, he like conks her on the head, and then she's like, okay. And then
He freezes time, doesn't he?
oh, he does. Oh, yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah.
But they get out of there, and the old lady thinks that she killed Iolanthe, and she's like, okay, task complete. Except Iolanthe is still alive.
And Iolanthe and the prince, like, she poofed to London.
Mm-hmm.
So now they are in, like, the non-magical normal society. And so Prince Titus, he has two lives. He is Prince Titus in his, like, magical land, but he also attends, like, Eton, I think. Is it Eton?
Yep, it's Eton.
All boys school.
The, like, British royalty go there.
Yeah. And he has been planning for the prophesized boy child to save the kingdom. He has set up an entire, like, history and lifetime for this kid.
Fairfax.
Oh, that's right. Fairfax.
Sorry.
So he's like, all right, well, we're going to fix this. You're going to pretend to be a boy and we're going to go to my school and we're going to be friends. And everyone is expecting you because I made up this alternate lifetime for you. This is kind of where I started to get lost.
Yeah, this is kind of where you get into the roteness of just, they're at school now.
Now we have a training period where he's teaching her how to be a better mage.
Basically, and that's where the Crucible comes in. It's basically been this like passed down book to teach the kings of the kingdom to, survive whatever trials. If you die in the book, you just get popped out. And it's still traumatizing, though. That's like a little tidbit where she dies very aggressively by like a dragon in the Crucible. And then she has a whole breakdown when she like comes back. Because I cannot imagine dying in a dream and then...
Yeah, it's horrifying. And this is, you feel pain when you go into the Crucible.
Yep.
And the prince, and I do think the prince was a well-designed character because he was interesting. He's definitely like geared older and well thought out, and he has a plan for everything.
Yeah. He kind of reminds me of Prince Nikolai from Shadow and Bone.
Oh.
Did you read the spin-off in like the third book? Oh, okay. He's like a very like entrepreneuring. Is that a word?
It's close to a word.
Yeah. I feel like they're very similar characters, though. Yeah. So they kind of fall into whatever Eaton, blah, blah, blah. And basically, they're just trying to come together with some kind of plan to throw over Atlantis. There's a fun tidbit where the like idea of Fairfax has kind of taken a life of its own. And so they're all convinced that Fairfax is an excellent cricket player. And she's like, I don't know what the fuck cricket is, but we're going to figure it out. And all of a sudden she's like, amazing at cricket. Would you believe?
Well, and she's really good at pretending to be a boy, like so good that all the like boys want to be friends with her. And then the prince starts getting jealous that she has all these friends. And it's like, this is not what I planned.
Yeah, basically. I think the next big thing is they find out that her guardian and like one of the housekeepers or something was taken by Atlantis and they're in this like notorious prison. And she's like, well, if I'm going to help you overthrow the government instead of just running away and like living, because there's a little bit of the prophecy where we realize that she is like expected to die in this
oh no,
or Prince Titus is, someone's dying, and so she's like, well, what do I get out of it? And so they have to protect the guardian or like save him. So he agrees to go arrange a visit to see his like citizens in the prison. And so Iolanthe is turned into a canary. And
I did get to this part. Yes.
And so he like keeps her on his person as like an eccentric, prince thing. He shows up to a party as like his cover, and then he's like, I demand to see my citizens in the prison. And the big bad lady, who is like a second to the actual big baddie, he's like, or she's like, you're whatever, I guess we could arrange that, but you have to like have an interview with me and you have to explain some things. And he's like, I don't want to do an interview because that involves brain magic and you're probably going to like melt my insides down. But that's the only way that he can get Iolanthe in on his plan. They go to the prison. He immediately gets his brain melted. And Iolanthe saves him by using air magic, which she had some kind of like repression she couldn't use.
Of course.
Obviously.
She's all powerful.
She like only figured it out to save Prince Titus. They do see her guardian. He's like trapped but alive. And then I think after that, the only other big plot line is the Crucible. So the big baddie is visiting the castle where they have a second copy of the Crucible. And the only way to get into the castle without everyone knowing that they're there to kill the big baddie is they have to go into their copy of the Crucible, cut off the connection with the real world, and then travel through it to pop out on the other side in the like castle. But when you do that, if you die in the Crucible, you die for realsy. And so it's one of those sketchy raising the stakes. And they have this like cool like back and forth where one person's coming in from a Crucible and then the other person's coming in from a different direction and they cross paths. And then like they're both interfering with the like plot line of the book. They kill the baddie, but he's not actually dead. And then that's the end.
That was a great summary in like 5 minutes or less. I think what you said earlier, that the Crucible by itself is such a cool idea. Like, we didn't need the Empire, Atlantis, Pegasus, London. We didn't need any of that. You could have just built a plot line around the crucible itself. Like, okay, our heroine is training to be a wizard, and so she uses the crucible to train, and then they come across something within the crucible. That's all you need.
Yeah.
It felt like there was way too much going on in this book.
Yeah. Or even just like they're actually at school and then they find the crucible and it's like, what is this? And then they get like murdered and they're like, what's the point of the crucible? And then they find something at the end. Yeah. I agree because I feel like the actual, like, talking more about what the crucible is, it's basically like a book of fairy tales, and there's like an area in each part of this like imaginary land when you go into the crucible that like tells a story, and it like resets every time. So it's like you can practice whatever skill on each of the stories or whatever, but you can like rewrite it. And so he rewrites part of it, the like Palace of the Spring Queen or something, to be this like fancy date that he sets up for.
Oh my God.
That is a part that like happens. He like rewrites the Sleeping Beauty character to have her face.
Oh no.
There's a bunch of like weird little tidbits, but yeah. I don't know. It was cute. I think it's one of those that if you need like a palate cleanser after some of your like crazy monster smut, or if you just want like a quintessential fantasy romance.
Let me backpedal a little bit, because I think what's easy to forget is how poorly written a lot of current romantasies are, like especially the Kindle Limited or $1.99 that have not gone through like a significant round of edits. It's very clear that this author knows how to write and write well, and she knows how to build a world. Now, it's tropey, it's cliche, and it's definitely geared younger. It's fine for younger. And I think this is one of those instances where that like writing revelation might play into factor. Like, okay, what was she trying to do? She's trying to write a YA adventure novel with a hint of romance. She did it.
Because I smashed through all three of these in the trilogy when I was younger.
So I think our recommendation on this one is it's 5 stars for what it is, right? 4 stars maybe, and give it to your younger siblings or your kids once they are at that right age for it.
Yeah. I would say, too, that it would be kind of an interesting, like, relic to read. Like, if you've only jumped into romantasy that's been, like, published recently, like, you've only experienced it from, like, ACOTAR forward. I think it'd be kind of, like, a fun, like, blast from the past to see, like, the quintessential tropes and, like, how they've played out in, like, different formats. I think it'd be a fun, like, historical relic of, like,
well, like this one, Graceling.
Yeah. There's a time and a place for, those like good, cute, younger, but like, oh, this is why I like romantasy.
I think it would be too slow for a lot of modern readers.
I could
and
see
not
that.
enough spice, because that seems to be a continuous complaint.
I could see that, because I think at most we get like a makeout scene. I think maybe.
Yeah, that's not gonna that's not gonna fly with modern romantasy readers.
Not at all.
All right. Well, we're only doing one part for Burning Sky.
Yep. It's just a little, foray into Sherry Thomas's other works.
Well, from our shelf to yours.
We'll see you on the next page. Hi, readers. Like what you've been hearing? Check out the Spice Archive at notanotherheroine.com to see all of our reviews and ratings. And if you'd like to support our growing library, find us on Patreon and get access to exclusive bonus content.
If you'd like to just listen, we post new episodes every Monday and Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. Thanks for listening.